Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to another weekly episode where we look at some book covers and then let you vote for your favorite in the link down below. Speaking of down below, there are all kinds of things down there: a like button, the bell button, the subscribe button, lots and lots of things. And every one you click makes my heart glad. Particularly, I am your humble host, M.L.S. Weech, and one of those things you can click down there is my author link. And if you would go there, check out some of my books and see if any of them interest you, I would be very appreciative. So we look at 7 book covers every episode, then let you vote on a favorite. We do that 4 weeks, and that gives us 4 books for the overall book cover of the month competition. And then we do it again and again and again. And why that's relevant is we get to name the winner for January. I know it's like near the end of January now, but it's just how it works. We're going to name the winner for January, and the book cover for the month of January is The Tinderbox by Kate Elliott. This cover is just unique. It's so distinctive. It's so interesting. It's so well composed. It's so stylistic. How could it not stand out in the crowd? I don't know if that makes it a particularly strong candidate for the book cover of the year competition, because there are some amazing covers in there, but it certainly stood up in the crowd of its contemporaries for January. And I want to offer my congratulations to whoever it is that designed that particular cover and Kate Elliott herself. So tremendous work, great cover. And that's the winner for January. We also keep running one every week. So even though we're naming January's winner, we can also name the winner for the second week of February. And that winner is The Atomic Ballerina by I.O. Adler. If I'm being honest, I kind of raved about this one. And I still kind of want to rave about this one. I really kind of just like it more and more every time I see it. I gotta admit the stylistic art, for people who like things that look super realistic, or super authentic, then you're probably not going to be as much a fan of this. I typically do like that kind of art, but I also like to see unique attributes. Look at what we did with January's winner just now. So having this high stylistic art with this classic title and feel and text, it's just a perfect marriage. And so congratulations to this designer and congratulations to I.O. Adler. So those are the winners. And now we can start looking at the book covers that you can vote on in week 3's bracket. The first one we're going to look at is Outcast by Louise Carey. This uses a few techniques I want to bring into. First one I'm going to talk about is reflection. Anytime you have a reflective surface, and you see something duplicated, that's the technique that you're working with. And this also creates something called balance. This is particularly called formal balance because what is above is the same as what is below. We've seen a few covers where they do something distinct or there's some sort of contrast that makes that balance more informal or equal. And those are great. This cover is great because of those techniques. I like the color. I like the use of the text. I like the placement of everything. So this is a very, very strong cover. The next cover we're going to talk about is by a whole bunch of authors. Let me see if I can see it. Steve Dutch, J.T. Moriarty, Chris Masterton, Dragoness Wyverna, I guess. I don't know. There's a whole lot of authors, and I'll just bring it up here for you guys. I know I had to lean in to kind of read those titles because they are just hard to see, and they're not even particularly easy to see on its actual Amazon page. But this is the cover we're talking about by a great number of authors. And I really love the scale that this created. Again, scale is when you have 2 elements, and those elements can't help but give people an understanding on how big or small something might be. The most easy thing to create scale for is another person. So assuming even if that person we're seeing on this cover is a little person, that skull is still enormous. It's huge. And if that person is a categorically normal, I don't know what normal is these days, but if he falls within whatever the average height of a person is, this skull is that much bigger. So I like the composition. I like the placement. I'm not even that angry about the blurring of some of the letters in the title text. I actually wish like there's some real estate down there. I wish the author names were a little bit bigger. It might be time to update my glasses. My eyeballs certainly aren't what they used to be, but that's pretty demanding to have. You want to minimize author text. Really, it should be the title. It should be the cover. Bestsellers throw their names up there, but then they're selling their names. But as much as I am one who believes that author text should be small, it shouldn't be that small. That's probably my one knock on this whole cover. Everything else about it is well, everything else that it doesn't do everything a cover could do, and that might be a little hard to get over in and of itself. But what it executes, demonstrating scale, demonstrating composition. This is also using a matter of informal balance. Might be the accidental theme of this week. I never do one on purpose, but every now and again I look at 2, 3, 4 covers and I realize that's what I've been seeing. What it does well. It's got great texture. It's got great composition. So big congrats. And if you like it, you can vote for it down below. Next cover we're going to look at is The Darkness's Name by C.G. Fleck. And this is a pretty awesome looking cover in terms of dynamic action and detail. So you have this horrifying figure composed of dragons, blackbirds, lizard creatures, whatever they are. There's this being composed of winged, scary looking beings, and they're all charging at this cloaked figure with what seems to be a glowing weapon. Honestly, it's simplistic in its concept, but it's so detailed and complex in its execution. To generate that many little pieces to create one bigger whole, and then be wise enough. Notice how the skull figure ends before the hooded figure begins. It does bug me a little bit that it feels like the text is centered one way and the image is centered another way. That may just be an optical illusion, but it is kind of creating a bit of tension, but that might have been intentional on the part of the designer. Whenever you have something that's almost perfect and you nudge it just a little bit, it's really hard for the eye to pull away from that. So it's not the most colorful, it's not the most lifelike, but it certainly is the most detailed cover we have this week, and it's pretty freaking awesome. The next cover we're going to look at is The Forever Child, and I put another emphasis because the designer capitalized for and ever. I'm assuming that's part of a plot. Let me bring this up for you so that you can see what I'm seeing. There we go, right here. So really, this is just a super basic cover that's using capitalization as a matter of emphasis, which is actually something I'm normally not a fan of. I'm not even a fan of it with this title. What I like about this cover is the way it gradiates from vibrant color to monocolor in this desert background and the way that's working. So those are the things I like, but there are some serious knocks on this one, in my opinion. This type on a path use of text and the under text, I don't stand a chance in reading. Is she the start of a new, I don't know, maybe that species, or is she the end of the human race? Well, either way, she would be the end of I am not a fan of that text. The appearance of it, how hard it is to read, it doesn't seem like the most logical thing. So maybe this book by D.B. Martin is incredibly creative, but I would not have put those text elements on this cover. I would not have made those choices. I'd have stuck with this pretty cool transparent butterfly look, and gone from there. I don't have a whole lot of umbrage. I'm not a fan of randomly capitalizing letters, even if it is for effect. But I wouldn't be as bothered by that in and of itself if it didn't have those weird text elements going for it. But it's still pretty nice color. It's still pretty nice use of a gradient blend. So, it's worthy of note. This one, I think, is going to get some love from particular viewers, because the people who love good color in their designs are going to love When You Were My World by Zoe Cannon. I am just a huge fan of the color in this. I love the little glowing bits. I like that it looks like there's this figure sitting and contemplating the universe while it's literally falling apart around him or her. I can't really tell with the space suit. Kind of looks like a Doctor Who cover, or what would be a cover to a Doctor Who book that isn't a Doctor Who book. I'd be interested to know if the author or the designer are fans and they were using some of that in their design and planning, but I can't, or at least I don't imagine I'm going to get to speak with Zoe Cannon anytime soon. It's still so dynamic and detailed, and that color is undeniable. So it won't shock me if people gravitate toward this color, because it really just grabs you by the eyeballs and doesn't really let you get away. The use of a yellow gold text around the red with splotches of that same yellow gold is a great unifying technique. So I'm a big fan of this cover, even if it, sci-fi romance isn't really my jam. But that doesn't change the fact that that cover is cool. Two more to talk about. So cover number 6 we're going to look at is called The Crackling C by K. Vale Nagel. And ultimately it's just, I don't know, I don't think that's a pelican. It's a flying bird of some kind, or a flying animal of some kind, moving around. So we have this idea called a tilted horizon. There are some people who overuse it. There are some people who are just careless with how they compose a frame, especially when there is a skyline or a waterline to work with. In this case, it's creating a dynamic movement from the corner to the bird to the author text and back around. That would be why I feel like they designed it that way. I certainly hope so. I also think that this is a creature that's maybe flying down a waterfall and then leveling off at a sea. You could still do that without tilting the horizon. So this is one of those things where I will acknowledge I'm not a fan of tilted horizons. So when I look at this, I look at it and go, it's pretty good. I guess that's one reason to tilt the horizon, but you didn't have to anyway. That's kind of how I lean in that regard. The detail in the bird and in the feathers is awesome. Using that tilted horizon to show those giant rocks coming out of the water. They have a title. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but those particular elements are more visible with this composition. So it's well executed, or at the very least, it's the kind of image that breaks a rule that a lot of people don't want to break, and it breaks it in a way that at least has some justification. And so I wouldn't, as much as I don't like it when it happens, here I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why you would do it, and that matters. The last one we're going to look at, dragons are always cool. That's my phrase. This is Empire of Traitors by Rachel A. Shade. And that dragon is wicked. The vines flowing around it create a nice framing element where it looks like it's a frame within a frame. And then the composition of this dragon in flight, or at least hovering in front of these two people, and these two people being placed in a manner that allows them to occupy their own space. That's pretty good. I don't know what that thing is in front of the figure in the dress. I would not have put that thing there because there are some people who are going to try to like figure out what that is. And there's not enough detail to make it out, and it's not interesting enough to make it matter. So just take it out, just leave it out. Font choice works for me. It's legible. I can see it. I like the use of color, kind of various shades of blue, and they still pull it off and have the right contrast they need for those really epically awesome details to stand out. And that's a credit to the designer and their knowledge of color, if not exactly knowledge of light. I'm not saying that this cover doesn't demonstrate awareness of light. I'm only stating that they're using color to create depth, where a lot of people would use light to create depth. So that is the 7th cover. We have gone over all 7. I hope you have enjoyed it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. If you're someone and you saw a cover you think is awesome, you want to keep it with, I look at new releases. So there are covers throughout human history that are pretty awesome, but I'm looking for a cover to a book that was published, or even like a 2nd or 3rd printing, but that printing occurred within the last 90 days. That's kind of the rule there. But if you got one you like, throw in the link down below and give some comments on what you think about it. I still reserve the right to choose whether or not to use it, but I do want to encourage some discussion. As always, I appreciate you being here. Please remember to vote for your favorite in the link down below. And please enjoy your weekend. God be with you. And I will see you next week. Bye now.